Cardano, Sui, and Solana holders are all doing pretty well right now. These are three projects, three altcoins in the crypto space that are performing above and beyond the rest of the market as we enter this bull cycle. ADA has recently gone up over 200% in a single month and has blown right past the $1 mark. Solana crept all the way up to a new all-time high in November, and Sui also hit a new benchmark in terms of its all-time high. That also happened in November. The SUI token has quadrupled. It's gone up 4 times since September. All eyes in the crypto space are on Solana and Sui right now. That is very much where the party's happening. But can Cardano still shine and perhaps outshine those two projects in 2025? Charles Hoskinson has been doing a lot of work, of course, behind the scenes. That's become more public all of a sudden. And Cardano, which I have to admit, I argued was kind of irrelevant as a project only a few months ago, all of a sudden, it's kind of revving up again and wants to make this return, I would say, to its former glory. So should ADA be your priority over Sol and Sui? Let's discuss. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie and this is Altcoin Buzz. I wish you all the best of luck if you choose to invest Sol, Sui, ADA, or otherwise. I hope you do very, very well. But I'm not a financial or investment advisor. Please remember that. And also by extension, remember that this video is not official financial or investment advice. Let's start by briefly introducing each project here just to make sure we're talking about the same context and we're on the same wavelength. And I want to do that for all three projects, just in case maybe you're not totally up to speed or you're not especially familiar with one or the other. So first of all, Cardano, of course, you're probably familiar with this one. It's been around a little bit longer. It is no stranger in the crypto space. They've been around for years now, all the way since 2017. And really, to their credit, have always kind of played the long game. Cardano's proof-of-stake blockchain, Ouroboros, is built on peer-reviewed research and scientific rigor. This has always been a priority for them. Unlike Cardano's competitors, this is a project that focuses on sustainable scalability and security. And Cardano's commitment to scientific research really does set it apart. This is a defining characteristic of Cardano. Every single upgrade goes through rigorous academic review, thus ensuring the network is robust and secure. And although critics like to say that Cardano is too slow, the fact is that they've been building behind the scenes. Cardano's Hydra scaling solution, for example, and Voltaire era, that gave the platform a more decentralized and community-driven future. So what's Cardano's major use case here? In particular, it excels in smart contracts, decentralized finance, aka DeFi, and governance. And Cardano's ecosystem has recently gained traction with DeFi protocols too, like Liquid and MintSwap, particularly driving user adoption. Okay, that was Cardano. Let's briefly overview Solana here, which has been around also a little while, but not quite as long, since 2020. And so this is a 4th generation blockchain designed specifically for ultra high speed and low cost transactions. Solana uses a very unique, actually, proof of history or POH consensus combined with POS or proof of stake. And that combination allows Solana to handle thousands of transactions per second. Really, Solana's major edge is its lightning fast transaction speed and low fees, thus making it pretty suitable for real-time applications. It's widely known for this. It's got a great reputation when it comes to those two variables. And so Solana's ability to host complex dApps and scalability have earned it the so-called Ethereum killer title. And so far, Solana has actually been one of the standout blockchain platforms in terms of living up to that potential. And as far as primary use cases, Solana's ecosystem is pretty diverse, but it has notable strengths in DeFi and non-fungible tokens, NFTs. But also, you cannot overlook the fact that Solana has emerged in terms of an ecosystem as really the king of meme coins. The Solana ecosystem for meme coins is unparalleled. So much so that some of the biggest meme coins of 2024, like Boom, are based on Solana. And this popularity for speculative trading gives Solana a pretty significant edge in terms of attracting retail users and newbies to the space. But even without considering meme coins, if you want to put those aside, Solana still has some very good and innovative projects like Solana Play in its ecosystem. All right, and last but not least here, we have to talk about Sui here, which is certainly the new kid on the block in terms of these three projects that we're looking at today. Sui had their mainnet launch only last year and have been very successful since then. Sui was developed by ex-Meta/Facebook engineers, And Sui's core focus is on scalability and security. The project does this by leveraging the Move programming language to process transactions faster and with much more simplicity. Sui's edge here is their focus on parallel transaction processing. This basically allows it to scale without regular challenges or those challenges that you would see elsewhere. And it also makes it particularly suited for resource-intensive apps, so things like Web3 gaming and social apps especially. Sui is carving out a very nice little niche for itself in gaming and DeFi, both of which are huge for them. And although they're new and have a smaller ecosystem, admittedly, Sui's growth has been very impressive, and they are fast becoming a pretty big deal in the blockchain space. They are currently 8th of all TVL, total value locked, which is certainly very commendable given, again, how young they are. Let's talk about market sentiment and the recent performances of these projects. So we'll begin here, and as a comment, despite kind of not being as flashy as Solana or Sui, we'll consider Cardano, which has been fairly impressive, fairly consistent. Like I said earlier, they've gone up by something like 200% in the last month, the last 30 days. Cardano's DeFi TVL recently hit a record of $619 million. As I record here, it is $683.21 million. If you put that in context, it's a very strong number considering that Cardano only had $200 million in assets in September this year, just a few months ago. Solana is also getting a lot of buzz at the moment, and deservedly so. The SOL token is up something like 35% in the last 30 days. During that time, it also hit a new all-time high, just above $260, and then retraced, but that's okay. You can take a look here at the last 12 months, the last year, to get a really good sense of how well it's been doing. And by the way, don't forget, if we zoom out further to, when was that? December of 2022 / January of 2023, Solana was all the way down at, I think it was actually under $9, something like $8, but in the single digit range, if you can believe it. It's almost hard to believe it now looking back, but yeah, that was the case. So this is certainly the comeback kid within this group. And right now, Solana's ecosystem is thriving, particularly in DeFi and, like I said, meme coins. Several Solana apps recently recorded record fees and revenue thanks to the network's growth. Solana also reached a major milestone recently. It hit the highest ever weekly real economic value activity. And this is an achievement that highlights the growing adoption and use of Solana's blockchain for real-world applications. That's very important. That includes things like decentralized finance, DeFi, NFTs, and things like payment solutions. And for Sui, like I said, they're absolutely on fire right now. They moved from 78 cents to the $3.70 range in just a couple of months. Sui had an all-time high, like I said, in November, and there just are a lot of things that are going right for this blockchain and for this platform at the moment. Deservedly so, because they've been working hard and fundamentally they've been making all the right moves strategically. So it's nice to see when those two things line up. The work behind the scenes and all the stuff that ought to be done for a great project, and then a price action that rewards that hard work. Sui's also seen an influx as a consequence of new users and is naturally attracting a lot of attention. And that's not just from individuals, it's from projects as well. New and visiting projects are pulling in users who are diving into Sui's ecosystem. And let's not forget about DeFi either, because Sui's DeFi ecosystem is thriving, and that just continues to fuel the virtuous cycle. The market sentiment for Sui right now, like Solana and Cardano, is certainly on the positive side. And so, all things considered, we really do have 3 altcoins right now that are driving a wave of enthusiasm individually for their projects on their own merits, but also that are benefiting from general positivity, positive sentiment in the market right now. These 3 really are leading the pack. Let's talk now about historical performances in terms of all-time highs, all-time lows, and bull markets. Like I said, Cardano has been around now for what effectively has been a couple of bull markets and a couple of bear markets, and it's been one of the top survivors of these crypto cycles. At Cardano's launch in 2017, ADA traded at just 2 cents. And then by January 2018, that's when it soared to its first all-time high of $1.32 during that particular crypto boom. However, that run was actually pretty short-lived, and ADA dropped from that high water mark of $1.32 all the way to 14 cents by April, so just a few months later, and then hit a low of 4 cents by the end of 2018. In 2019 and 2020, ADA was pretty steady in terms of growth, despite some market dips. Key moments like the Shelley testnet launch that was in June 2019, and then the full implementation of Shelley in July 2020, those helped push prices higher, with ADA actually hitting about 21 cents by December 2020. And then, as you probably remember, came the 2021 bull run. Cardano skyrocketed from that low of 19 cents in January to $2.47 by May. This was a surge that was largely fueled by all kinds of excitement around the Alonzo upgrade. That brought in smart contract functionality. And then ADA peaked at an all-time high of $3.10 in September before correcting all the way back down to $1.37 by year end. ADA suffered huge blows in 2022, thanks really to the general market collapse that we all endured. But like I said, Cardano and ADA are survivors, and it's currently bouncing back, riding this bull market and this momentum that we've been experiencing. And judging by ADA's latest performance in this bull market, we can probably expect ADA to surpass its all-time high in this upcoming bull cycle. And just like Cardano, Solana has been around during a bull market and was in fact one of the stars of the last cycle. You may remember that Solana's surge really was thanks to the growing number of decentralized applications, dApps, on the network. And Solana's ecosystem is also filled with a thriving DeFi, and like I keep saying, a thriving meme coin community as well. We cannot underestimate that. And although we're a little bit down right now, Solana did recently hit a new all-time high above $260 on the 21st of November, so just a couple of weeks ago. And that brings us now to Sui, which, like I said, has not been around for very long, so it really doesn't have much in terms of historical data and previous records in the same way that Solana and Cardano do. It's basically the first bull cycle for Sui. But that being said, it's still shown a lot of impressive upward momentum in terms of its price. Sui's all-time low came a year ago at about 36 cents. Since then, we've done very, very well. We've more than 10x'd. Sui has, SUI. And the new all-time high officially was $3.93 in this bull market. And Sui really is showing great growth potential for the next few weeks and the next few months and in 2025. Let's now talk about that growth potential for these projects, beginning with Cardano and what its future looks like. Well, they've been working quite a lot on stuff to ensure that 2025 is the year for them. Also, don't forget that Cardano is not the flashiest, but they certainly have a good foundation. They're very stable. Cardano actually has been pretty busy making big upgrades to its technology. The team recently launched Cardano node v9.1.1, and this is a key update that solved an issue with nodes basically replaying all the way from the very beginning of the blockchain during the Conway era. And then on top of that, they rolled out a snapshot converter tool, which fixes problems like memory leaks and helps with data conversion on the blockchain. It is a huge step forward, really making Cardano's network faster, more reliable, and more efficient in the process. And then beyond all the tech updates, Cardano's also been pretty big into integrations. The major one, of course, is bringing DeFi to Bitcoin. Cardano's founder, Charles Hoskinson, shared his vision recently of Cardano becoming a DeFi layer for Bitcoin. Because with the low fees basically introduced by the Babel update, Bitcoin users can pay for transactions with Bitcoin itself, even while using Cardano's blockchain for faster and more scalable transactions. The potential here is absolutely massive. Cardano's network activity is also on the rise. Its daily active addresses have seen a big jump, and data from Into the Block highlights that the new user addresses are really at the highest since June of 2023, which means that people are noticing Cardano. And then, of course, a lot of the hype comes from the fact that Hoskinson is and has been working very closely with the Trump administration in terms of setting and defining crypto policies. His involvement, of course, is a huge deal for Cardano because, first of all, it adds credibility to Cardano, but the rest of the crypto space as well. And it could also attract many, many more investors to the platform and the wider environment. And then Solana, in terms of growth potential, has also made some very striking updates. The Fire Dancer upgrade, for example, is probably the most exciting in terms of all these updates. Fire Dancer is really aimed at turbocharging Solana's performance and scalability, and it's going to attract many more users and developers to the network, thereby potentially increasing demand for Sol in a major way. Needless to say, the future continues to look bright for Solana and Sol. Sui is also making lots of great moves. They had a recent partnership with Google Clouds. And thanks to this, the developers over at Sui can tap freely into the Google Cloud's infrastructure. All right, so final thoughts here. Which of these three altcoins is going to win 2025? Cardano, Solana, or Sui? Like I keep saying, Cardano's focus is very much on research, scalability, and stability. And all three of these pillars very much give Cardano as a project a massively solid foundation. Cardano's market cap right now is in excess of $40 billion, but it still has room for growth. Most experts out there, considering all the good news and considering all the solid fundamentals, most experts and analysts do believe that ADA can beat its current all-time high in this bull market. And judging by Cardano's performance in previous bull markets, we can realistically see ADA reaching the $4 range, perhaps a little bit more. That's approximately 3 times where we are right now. We can expect that in this bull cycle. That would bring it to about $120 billion market cap. Solana, on the other hand, has speed and an existing ecosystem that make it unrivaled as a strong contender. But Solana has had some outages, which could be a concern with regard to its reliability. Despite that, a lot of analysts believe that Sol could cross the $300 range at the end of the bull market. I think that's actually pretty conservative. A lot of other people are calling for $400 and $500. There are various theories out there. The problem with Sol is that it's got such a massive market cap, it's harder to grow that with an influx of capital, right? And then Sui, of course, is still the new guy, the new kid on the block, but it's shown great strength already. And with a market cap right now over $10 billion, Sui has probably arguably the most room for growth here. So if Cardano can sustain its momentum and continue the ecosystem growth, it could lead the pack. But as with other comparisons, it kind of all boils down to market caps and growth potential. So Solana has a market cap, as I record, of $106 billion, Cardano $42.7 billion, and Sui just shy of $11 billion. So in an absolute sense, yes, Solana is probably going to dominate this bull cycle. In a legislative or policy sense, Cardano is going to do great things and it'll be a leader in that regard. But in terms of price multiplication potential, I think it's much easier to turn an $11 billion Sui market cap into a $22 billion market cap, a $33 billion market cap. And so in that sense, and given everything else that's really going forward, I think Sui has the best potential in terms of upward price potential, SUI. Perhaps that's a bit of a biased opinion because we've been cheerleaders for Sui here for a long time, but it's great to see the success that they've already enjoyed. And I think honestly that they deserve a lot more of it given everything that they're doing right. That's my point of view. The reality is I like all of these projects, but I'd probably put my money on Sui if I was given the choice here of these three. Let me know your thoughts about that, as always, in the comments below.